Hey, what's up, guys? This is Chase with the Hanging With Azarian podcast, episode number 7. This episode, I got my boy Andreas on here as we talk about our 10 favorite movies of 2020. We both have our own list. Yes, more than 10 movies came out this year, and there's a lot of great ones, actually. So if you're looking for movie recommendations, this is the episode for you. Thanks. Appreciate you.
It's like we're playing, what's that game with like the matching characters?
Guess who?
Guess who? That's what this feels like right now.
Yes, sir. We're going to have to guess what each other's movies is.
Exactly.
So, Andres, I hop right into it, man.
Absolutely, dude.
We're on the podcast. How are you feeling?
Is this it right here?
This is it. This is making the cut. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling, man?
I'm excited.
I'm excited, too.
Not only for this podcast, but also just in general. This year for film, Sundance, talking about film, you know.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
It's a unique year. Before we get too into it, this is my boy Andreas. We met almost 3 years ago, I guess now it would have been.
We met, 2019. Yeah, about 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
This would have been our third Sundance.
Exactly.
So I get almost. Yeah. It's like whatever that number is.
We started talking a little bit before that, like through the group chat and everything, but we officially met January 2019.
Sundance 2019.
Almost 2 years ago.
And
in Salt Lake.
In Salt Lake. Me and Andreas are a part of a good group of people that have gone to Sundance the past 2 years.
The Sundance crew,
Yeah, technically we're making it a third year because Sundance is virtual this year. Me and Andreas both have tickets together. We're going to get together, watch a couple movies this year, which will be awesome.
Yep.
But Andreas is one of my best friends in terms of movie stuff, for sure. Even worked on a little short film with him recently and stuff. So
coming soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
We're working on it.
Absolutely.
Still working on it, but, things take time.
Yeah, and good things take even more time sometimes.
Exactly. There you go.
So, we're going to talk about our 10 favorite movies of the year. If you're not into movies, you might have thought that 10 movies even came out this year because of how crazy 2020 was.
Yeah.
But, movies came out this year. We went to Sundance last year, so there are movies we got to catch somewhat early compared to other people.
A lot of my picks actually throughout the year. And it's funny because as I was updating my list, I was like, man, 80% of my list this year is going to be Sundance.
Yeah.
Because while there were a lot of, good films that came out outside of Sundance, I feel like most of, even the good films were Sundance films that are out now and all that stuff.
Streaming platforms, we will mention probably, HBO picked up a couple, some on Hulu, so.
Netflix for sure has a few.
Amazon's been killing it.
Oh, Amazon has been killing it.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for, the past 3 years. Amazon slept on, I feel.
I think 10 years from now, Amazon's going to be, the number one. For Oscar movies, I just think if you're a company like Amazon where you could afford to just blow money on indie projects, I feel like they're going to be the number one.
I would agree with you there because Amazon Originals, even from a few years ago with Suspiria, you know what I mean? Those were great, or Manchester by the Sea.
That was a big Oscar movie.
Incredible, yeah. Yeah, true, because HBO Max, it's starting out.
Yeah,
it has Wonder Woman, all the big.
Wonder Woman wasn't.
I know.
That doesn't make my list.
I know exactly. But they're big in terms of the blockbuster stuff.
Studio
stuff. I don't know if they're gonna be indie favorite.
We'll see.
Indie dark.
I think time will tell.
Exactly.
HBO, Disney, they're kind of the bigger ones, and Amazon's they're sneaking through. They're coming the A24 route.
Absolutely. So, and I appreciate that.
There's studios to watch out for. In terms of eligibility for this year's movies list. If you don't know, there were a lot of virtual film festivals throughout, the later part of the year, and there's certain movies that me and Andres kind of agreed that for the 2020 list, what counts is it need to have had at least a limited release in the year. So something like 9 Days, which will probably be my favorite movie of 2021.
Listen, that would have been top 2 for me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not on the list.
And but it will next year.
It will,
Unless next year is the craziest year for movies ever. We never know.
Well, that's the thing. This year we might get Dune, but at the same time, I'm going to have more time to rewatch 9 Days.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 more times because it's worth watching 4 more times. I love that movie. So we'll see. But definitely 9 Days is currently my favorite movie of 2021.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not counting it for 2020.
Exactly.
There are a couple movies that I wish I got to see before, One Night in Miami, I think drops on Amazon next week. Which, did you catch that?
I did get to see it. Again, online film festivals. I got to see it. I think it was Chicago Film Festival.
Okay.
Had their online selection. Got to, saw it there with one of our other friends, Fernando. Loved it. didn't make the list.
Hey, there's great movies that came out.
Spoiler alert, didn't make the list. So it just goes to show 2020 actually had a lot more movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Than I expected it to have after this lockdown.
And I'm looking forward to being able to talk about that one. But I haven't seen it before time of recording this. And the biggest one I haven't seen is Nomad Land. I didn't get a screening for a film festival. Yeah. I know Andres is going to bring it up at some point, so we'll save the talk for it. But was there anything that you missed that you really wish you got to see before we sat down?
Actually, hold on. So I made
got a backup list.
Yes, I made what's called 2020 catch up.
I had a similar list that I private on my letterbox.
Exactly. And these are the movies that, got a lot of buzz this year that could have made my list, probably will make my list after this. It kind of sucks that I didn't get to watch these before we made this, but I have to finish the rest of Small Axe.
Oh, okay. Which ones did you see?
I only watched Lover's Rock.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen any of the other four.
Have not seen Mangrove. I really want to see Mangrove. That's the one I'm most excited for. But I haven't seen any of the other ones. Only Lover's Rock, which I liked a lot.
I'll talk about Small Axe later because there might be an appearance.
Yeah, for sure. There's this Brazilian movie, which I don't know how to pronounce it. Bacurau.
I did hear about this, but I don't know anything about it besides the name.
I know it's on the Criterion Channel, which...
Already? They already picked it up?
Yeah, okay. I think it premiered on there. It's streaming premiere was on there. It was that, and there's another one. Sorry We Missed You.
I heard about this one too.
Is on Criterion. That was on this list. Actually watched it recently.
Okay, it's crazy they picked up the movies that soon.
I know.
Yeah.
But I kind of love it. That now it's there. It's a very long movie, and for me,
how long is very long?
Listen,
3 hours or 4 hours?
I think it's 240 something.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, it's long, but I thought you were gonna say 3.5.
No.
Type shit. Yeah.
Actually, it's not even that long. I just looked at the time. I'm just lazy. I'm literally just lazy because if you tell me a movie's over 2 hours, I feel like I have to take out a whole afternoon to watch it.
Hey, that's fair. I feel that on many levels. Yeah.
So that's on there, and I haven't seen it because of the length.
Mm-hmm.
But now I might just have to watch it because it's really not that long. It's 2.5. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay, that's doable.
It's doable.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the big ones, and then the last one, The Father, which
I haven't not seen. Does that count as 2020 technically? Did that have a limited release?
Okay, that's what. How do you define what counts on 2020 and what doesn't?
Nomad Land had a limited release window in December.
Fair.
So that counts.
Okay, so...
Did The Father have that or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
But the thing about it, too, is that The Father is getting a lot of, awards buzz. So for 2020
I would say
season,
then if it counts for award season this year, like Oscars, then it would technically count. Then The Father is another one that I technically missed. Even though it was impossible to get a screening besides a festival. But I don't know.
I mean, I tried and I Googled and, I roamed the internet looking for some screening of The Father. And, I didn't see it at Sundance because it was also at Sundance.
Yeah, and it was supposed to come out, I think, in the summer or something at the time. There was a reason we had skipped it.
Exactly. And this movie has evaded me. That is the one. I feel like there's always one movie, like especially around award season, that I have to wait so long to watch.
And I really want to watch The Father now because at first I was like, whatever, Anthony Hopkins probably has a good performance, but I didn't know it's about him having dementia, but it's told from his perspective.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So actors will change and you don't know who it is.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That made me way more intrigued in it. Yeah,
yeah. Like everyone I know that has watched The Father, or everything I've read online, it's just everyone loves it, and I'm like, dang, I'm never gonna see this movie, dude. I'm never gonna watch The Father. No, but probably this year. But that's the big one on this list.
The three that I really wanted to see, we kind of just talked. Nomadland, One Night in Miami, Father. Everything else I feel like I relatively catched up on. I'm sure there will be a movie I watch eventually. I'm like, shit, I wish I saw it. But it's kind of So if we want to just jump into it, I think. Since you're the guest, you could do your 10, I'll do my 10. We kind of go back and forth.
Do you want to do them individually, or do you want to do I give you my number 10 and you give me yours? Or do you want to just me go through my whole list right now?
I was going to do one at a time. You do 10, I do 10, you do 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll make it the best. So, Andres, what's your number 10th favorite movie
number 10th
of 2020?
So I've gone through this list maybe... I mean, not that long, but I've been combing through it and looking through what could be up there. Number 10 for me is Boy State.
Okay.
Currently.
Okay.
So Boy State is it's a documentary which actually I've been wanting to talk to you about. It's so weird that this is the first year since I've been getting into film and starting, like rankings and all that stuff. Now that I'm watching a lot more films than I used to back, like 5 years ago, this is the first year that I have a documentary in my top 10.
I have 3 in mine.
I have 2.
Okay, there we go.
But because like as I was looking through this list, I looked through my 2015 list, through like my 2016 list and all that stuff, looking for a documentary in there, and like the highest one I think was last year when I had Knocked Down the House, like at like 12 or 13. But like still, I was like, man, this is the first year I have a documentary. It's not just 1, it's 2. But the first one is Boy State, which did you know anything about Boy State before going
into it? Yeah. I just remember we were at Sundance.
Yeah.
A24 and Apple both picked it up.
Yeah.
And our boy Art was like, yo, you gotta watch Boy State. Like,
he's the
one you gotta watch.
He's the one that told me to watch it, and I forgot what the other movie was, but I remember I had another movie that I wanted to see. I think it was like Sylvie's Love or something, but
which no one's even talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so like Art is like no, like go see Boy State, and the only time that was available was during this like Sylvie's Love time. And I waitlisted for it. I got a pretty okay number, but my friend's friend got a better number, and he wasn't gonna go, so he gave it to me. So I got to see it, and I was front row, which is
the neck's hurting.
Yeah, which like at a concert's great, for a film, not great. Not it. Yeah. So I was front row at this movie, and like the entire time I was like this, but I was engaged. After like maybe the 20-minute mark, I was absolutely in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't know what Boy State was. I mean, should I just get into like what it is?
Get the most basic premise, I guess.
So Boy State, which again, I had no idea what a Boy State was. I guess it's a state-run program for high school students, where basically, so they have a boy state and they have a girl state, and it's like a weekend or like a week-long program where these students basically go in and they can run their own government for about, I guess it's like that time, and they like
however long it was, I forget what it is.
Yeah, it's like a few days, but like they basically decide like their laws, their policies, they're divided
for president,
exactly.
And all this shit. Yeah.
And then at the end, they vote for governor, because that's the governor of Boy State. Yeah. So like, the group's divided into 2 parties, and then both parties have to come up with their platforms, and they have to come up with their nominees, and like they have to decide like their own roles and all that stuff. And this year's been insanely political.
Of course.
So I to put it lightly. Exactly. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy in terms of politics. So seeing how like even at like such a young age, these like 15, 14-year-old kids are like already talking about politics on like such a deeper level than like I was. I mean, like I don't know about you, but like in high school, in 9th, 10th grade, I didn't really care about politics. You know what I mean?
I think this is where I'll interrupt in the sense that Boy State's my number 9, so I guess we'll just talk about this at the same time.
Yeah.
It was lower on my list. Like it was almost not in the top 10, and then I kind of rearranged a couple things earlier. And I was like, nah, I think when I look back on the year, Boy State is definitely worth mentioning. So it's the first of the 3 documentaries. I don't want to say I'm not a political person, but I'll put it this way. I'm not really... I pay attention to politics. I definitely have my beliefs, and I definitely think, especially recently, there's so much fucked up shit going on that
dude.
I definitely have to say what I think. But at the same time, I'm not someone that's going to overtly push my political beliefs out there. I'm kind of just like, I'll talk to someone that wants to make a change or whatever.
Yeah.
So to put my most basic thoughts out there, I have beliefs. I'm not someone that pushes my beliefs on people. That being said, I think Boy State is one of the most fascinating documentaries regarding politics.
Yeah.
And I think politics is something that's really easy to make cringe in filmmaking in a way. Like it's very obvious when someone puts their agenda out there. And what's cool about Boy State is whether you lean left, right, or in the middle, it kind of tackles what's wrong about each side and how that could also, like the pros of each side and how just communication could fix a lot of issues. It really is like the 2020 movie. How to talk about. I don't know how else to talk about.
It's like the solution of 2020. It's like one of those movies where like I wish all these senators and stuff currently in office would just watch this movie and see how they can like talk to each other. And it's like, even though like you could be on the left, you could be on the right, But chances are, if you do communicate with each other, you can find solutions to problems. And that's, I mean, I remember on the way out of this movie, I took an Uber. I don't remember if I was going back to like to the place or wherever I was going. But on my like the Uber driver and I were like we were just talking about the movie because he asked me like, oh, like what'd you see and stuff. And our entire conversation, literally like 20 minutes, was about like that, communicating with like people that you don't agree with on all fronts, you know what I mean, and coming to a middle ground. You know what I mean, whether that's like, you know, respecting each other or whatever, but it's like just coming to an agreement by just communicating and like seeing each other's point of view. And that's why I love it, you know. It's so engaging, it's so good. And
I think we also have to add, if politics is something that kind of, I don't want to say bores you, but it doesn't sound like your thing. Yeah, this movie's hilarious. Like,
it is.
That's what makes it great. It is the most engaging yet entertaining look at politics. It's almost like if you took every politician that's in the world right now and we caught them when they were younger, just as teenagers. Like that's exactly what it is. And there's people in here, you watch this movie and you're like, okay, I want to see if 15 years from now these people are running, and if they still stick to those beliefs or how they change. And I think it's just one of the most.
I've actually followed some of the kids on social media,
and I want to see what they do
because
in the next
I want to
see,
it's like I want to see one of them like become a senator. That'd be amazing.
It would be awesome. Boy State, I think, is one of the best movies of the year as well. Absolutely. Like I said, it's my number 9. I really hope they tease that they could possibly do a girl state, which I'd be totally down with.
Oh my god, that would be incredible. And like just see the differences between how boys operate, like you know, especially at that age. Yeah, how boys operate versus girls. You know,
and just to. It's like the most, I don't want to say experimental because experimental means something different in filmmaking, but it's the coolest experiment to watch in real time.
Because it is a social experiment.
It is.
That's what
and
I
they picked the perfect kids to follow, for sure. Like,
absolutely.
The most engaging on both sides, and it gets to the point where you just like feel empathetic to each kid there. Because like, even though there's definitely some kids that I'll disagree with, I'm like, I get where they're at least coming from though, and that's what makes the documentary so great. Yeah. So that's my number 9.
That's my number 10.
That's
so
your
what's your number 10?
Okay, we'll go that way. It just made the list earlier. I was really close. Okay. I'll give a quick shout out to My Brother Jordan. It's a 60-minute documentary on YouTube that this guy made regarding the passing of his brother, and he's almost like, I don't want to call him a YouTuber, but it is like the most no budget version of documentary filmmaking. Yeah. He almost at the number 10 spot. I switched it last second. I've seen this poster
before.
Okay, yeah. It was going viral for a little bit. My Brother Jordan, worth checking out. I just think there's another documentary that takes that same concept and does it better.
Documentary
that makes the list. So I was like, you know what?
Interesting.
I'm going to give my number 10 spot to a movie that some people didn't really like, but I fuck with The Lodge, actually.
The Lodge?
The Lodge is the horror movie I like to see. Yeah, exactly. This is my wild card pick, for sure. All right. It just made the cut earlier. When I first saw this movie, I went in thinking I was going to think whatever.
At Sundance? Or
I didn't see it at Sundance. Okay. I saw it this year, when it dropped on Hulu, I think.
I don't know what it's on right now.
Yeah, I forget what it got picked up on, but I heard it get compared to Hereditary. It's nowhere near as good as Hereditary, for sure.
It's not.
But there are similar vibes.
It's not.
This is one of the first movies in a while, though, bro, where I didn't really... Like, as it was going, I was like, oh, it's definitely going to go this direction. And then it didn't. And I was like, interesting.
I feel that, you know? I understand that point. Yeah, for sure.
And then it would take another diversion. I'm like, okay, it's not going the way I thought it was. And it was just an entertaining horror movie that is dark as shit, for sure.
Yeah.
It goes there,
Yeah, I'll give it that. Yeah,
it goes there. It made me feel uncomfortable. I just thought the way the characters were written and the way... I don't want to spoil it in case if you're a horror fan, I think The Lodge is worth checking out. Yeah. I think the ending really works for what it's going for. And I was just really, like, I think there's problems. I think there's certain conveniences. Yeah. I would never want to watch it again because it's just that dark of a movie. Yeah. But in terms of a year where not everything was able to make the lineup and not everything was released, there's certain movies that'll make this list that maybe would get pushed into an honorable mention section later. And I think The Lodge falls in that category for me, but I think the performances are great. Yeah. I just think it's a horror movie that I want more movies like The Lodge. Like, even though it is like Hereditary light. It doesn't reach the levels of Hereditary, but it's the type of horror movie
for sure
where if we're talking that genre of horror, I want more of that.
It
shit.
absolutely it like has that same energy, that, like same sinister, uncomfortable energy to a lesser extent. Yeah, no, I totally agree. So that's your number 10, though.
That's my number 10.
It's not an honorable.
Boy State was my number 9.
Got you.
What is your number 9?
Hold on, real quick. Just going back to The Lodge, because listen, like I'll say The Lodge, I'm not like crazy about it, but it was good. You know, for a horror movie, I will give it that. I actually would watch it again because
really,
because, well, I mean, I saw it last 2019 Sundance. Yeah. So I haven't seen it in a while, and I remember sitting there and I liked it a bit. It's definitely something I'd watch with a friend if they're like, oh, like what's a really scary movie or like a really uncomfortable movie. I would recommend The Lodge if they've already seen Hereditary and like, you know,
and liked it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's very much like if you like Hereditary, watch The Lodge. You know,
I mean, that's the best way to put it. I don't know how else to say it. And
it's definitely recommend if you watch Hereditary.
Yeah, okay. I feel like
perfect.
If you've seen I would recommend Hereditary as the horror movie you have to see.
Yeah.
And if you fuck with Hereditary, I'd recommend The Lodge.
Yeah.
If you don't fuck with Hereditary, I would not recommend The Lodge.
Yeah, no. If like the tension and like the stress of Hereditary is too much, even then I think people could handle The Lodge.
No, I think people could handle it, but I'm saying
like enjoy
if you didn't like Hereditary, I don't think in any world you like The Lodge. Yeah,
that's fair. My number 9, because yours is Boy State. Very good pick.
Thank you.
Number 9 for me is Matthias and Maxine.
What is that?
That is the Xavier Dolan's new movie.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I wanted to watch that.
Xavier Dolan's
I forgot it came out.
Yeah. Dude.
What is the concept?
So the concept is basically it's these two childhood friends who, I think one of them's, I saw it over summer. Admittedly, I like don't remember too much about like exact details of the plot, but I know two friends. The whole premise is based around the fact that they're working on this short film. And they have to share a kiss.
I'm already sold. Okay. Oh,
they have to share a kiss on camera.
So they're like kids, or
no? They're they're in their 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, 20s, like maybe late teens, but I'm pretty sure they're like 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're in their 20s, and that they have to share a kiss on screen, and it just kind of makes one of them really uncomfortable.
Okay.
And like like they're best friends, so like he shouldn't have to feel that way, but like. You know, that he like kind of starts questioning his sexuality, and then their friendship kind of goes through like, you know, this whole journey because of it. I love this movie mainly because of how it captures being a 20-something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like going out to like 20-something like house parties and stuff like that. Okay. Where it's not like crazy college ragers. It's very much more like mature, like
sipping on the bourbon,
kind of, but like still being ridiculous and like joking with your friends, and just like that friendship to me, like not just them two, but like their whole friend group is really engaging and just really great to just watch on screen. And like Xavier Dolan has like, have you seen any of his movies?
Well, I was just I wanted to let you continue, but I'm pissed I didn't watch this now because Mommy Bro is one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah,
dude, I watched Mommy. And I cried.
I thought you were going to say I didn't like it.
Oh, no, dude. Mommy is incredible. That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I loved it the first time. The second time I watched it, bro, I'm like, I'm remaking my top 10 movies of the decade, actually, this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to make it my own video. But, yeah, it makes the list for sure.
It's on there? Dude.
I fuck with Mommy so heavy, yeah.
Dude, that movie, I can watch that movie any day.
I think Mommy is like the foreign movie I would recommend somebody. If someone's like, I kind of want to check out foreign movies, but I don't know what to watch first. Yeah. Mommy is the perfect blend of drama and comedy. But I've never heard of anyone else like any of his other movies. That's why I'm always skeptical.
I've heard of like, so like a lot of people have liked I Killed My Mother. I haven't seen it. I've only seen 3 of his movies. This is the 3rd one I've seen. The second one I watched was it came out a few years ago. Wasn't crazy about it.
Is it the not Ray Donovan? Ray Donovan's the show. What's the other one?
John S. Donovan.
Did that ever come out?
It did, but like
I know it like went through this
cut.
Where Jessica Chastain was in the movie
they completely axed her.
It had the weirdest production development.
I know, exactly. And then like I thought it was coming out this year. Mm-hmm. It's one way or another. And then all of a sudden he releases this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm like, what? So I still haven't seen John F. Donovan.
Neither have I.
Eventually I will, probably. Mm-hmm. I know it's out there somewhere. Like, you could probably rent it.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, man. But, like, this one, though, I definitely recommend this.
No, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question earlier, what do I regret not seeing? I completely forgot about this movie. So
I feel like everyone has. That's why I wanted to include it. You know?
I feel really mad now because Mommy's literally like just so fucking unbelievably good at that. I feel
and like he has this style, especially after seeing Mommy, where it's like trying to define like a director's style is really hard sometimes. Yeah. But like you just have to watch it. You know what I mean? Because it's very like, I guess the word would be nostalgic. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Mommy felt nostalgic in a sense.
I was gonna say, or like it's got the warm like brownish look, and it feels.
This
feels
is
like
that same. This is that same kind of feel.
Okay.
And at this point, I just think that's a style that like very warm, nostalgic feel to it, with like really, really great moments between characters. You know what I mean?
I mean, you fucking sold me. Yeah.
I love this movie.
Okay.
I want to watch it again. Talking about it now,
I'm gonna have to watch it for sure. But I fucked up the order already. But
that's
what's your 8? Because I already said my number 9. Yeah.
Oh, true. Okay.
I'm sorry that Boy State had to do that to us.
Listen, it's fine. I mean, Boy State's worth it.
Yeah, it was worth the conversation.
Fucking up the order. Yeah. Oh God, here we go. Another one that you have on your list because for a fact, never, rarely, sometimes, always.
I do, but it's later on the list. So,
I know exactly.
Yeah, so that's fine. So why do you like never, rarely, sometimes, always?
Dude. Okay. God, we're gonna talk a lot about Sundance at this.
Yeah, pretty much everything we saw was a Sundance movie for the most part. Actually, no.
I have a lot of non-Sundance.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I counted. I have 6 non-Sundance. Or no,
I have 6 from 2 different Sundances.
We'll see.
Either way, we're Sundance fans. Yeah,
a lot of Sundance.
Film festival.
Honestly, it's the film festival. It's my favorite.
But these are all available now. You know what I mean?
They are all available now. I mean, Matthias and Maxine. I think it's available on something. iTunes. You can rent it.
Oh, okay, there you go.
There you go. Never, rarely, sometimes, always, dude. I know you love this movie, but we'll talk about that later. I saw it at Sundance. It was one of my picks immediately as soon as I saw the lineup come out. Because the lineup comes out, for those that don't know, the lineup comes out about a month before the tickets go on sale, and you can like pick your movies and stuff like that. So I scoured through that lineup, and this was immediately one of my picks.
It was my most anticipated, for sure. Yeah,
because of Beach Rats, right?
Yeah, Beach Rats. Eliza Hittman, I think, is one of the most talented. It's hard saying talented directors because she's kind of like a female, more dramatic Richard Linklater, and that's why I fuck with her so heavy. When Richard Linklater was back in his indie days.
She is Richard Linklater.
Sad.
Plus depression. Yeah. Plus depression. Actually, talking about Eliza Hittman, I've been watching this show on HBO, High Maintenance.
Is it good?
I love it.
Okay.
But I was shocked during like 2 episodes. She directed like 2 episodes.
Really?
And they're like 2 of like, one of them was like one of the best episodes I had seen on the season. And
okay.
Like at that point, I was like, wow, she's just great.
Hell yeah.
But never, really, sometimes, always. Going into Sundance, I was like, this is one of like my main picks. This is like top 5 for me. I'll get into the other top 5 a little bit later, maybe. But that was like in the top 5 for me. And, I went in kind of expecting, like that sadness, that like very slow, like very real feel to it, kind of that I got from Beach Rats. This destroyed me.
Yeah.
This movie destroyed me emotionally. And what I love about it is that it really captures that like desolate feeling, that like loneliness is like the best word I would use to describe what I felt after this movie and during.
It's just fair adjective, yeah.
It's just this visceral loneliness. You know what I mean? And there's like moments where like I'll think about this movie and there's like little moments, like scenes. So like the scene where like the title comes up. Yeah.
Because you might think never, rarely, sometimes, always. That's a handful of a title.
It is.
The second it's brought up in the movie, I would say that's probably the best scene of the year. Maybe. I'll talk about other scenes later.
It's good. I mean, that scene destroyed me. I remember sitting in the theater, and I don't really cry during movies. It's like I tear up, but I don't really shed tears, like actual tears during movies. Man,
this one broke you?
Almost. So close.
I'm in the same department where I almost cried. I'm the same way. I don't really cry in movies.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that to be the macho guy, but it takes a lot for a movie to make me feel like fuck. And this one was close.
This was so close to me just like bawling. Absolutely love it. And then like the relationship between the main girl. Should I talk about what it's about, or should we save that for when you get into it later?
I guess we'll save it, I guess. Maybe.
Okay.
The most all right, we'll talk about it real quick in case someone's intrigued.
Yeah.
It's an abortion movie. Now, everyone's always they're gonna have you're gonna have your bias already based off like, oh, fuck this movie, or I'm gonna watch this movie. I think what makes this movie great is it doesn't really... It's kind of like Boy State, where it sounds like it's a political movie.
But it's not.
But it's not at all. It's kind of just like, hey, this is the scenario, and it's about the girl, how crazy hard it is to even get the abortion, because you can't... So the basic premise, this is in the first 10 minutes of the movie, she knows she's pregnant, she lives in Pennsylvania, you can't get an abortion in Pennsylvania without the consent of a parent or guardian, but she doesn't want her parents to know, so she goes on a road trip to New York to try and get this abortion. It is... I'll talk about it when it gets to my thing.
We'll talk about it later.
It is the most... I don't know how... This is why Eliza Hittman's so good. She takes the most unbiased approach to a movie like this, and she's kind of like you said, it's a lonely movie. It's kind of like, this is the fucked scenario, and this is how she has to go through it.
And the thing is, like, you know, she just presents reality on screen so well. Wherein, it's like... She's not like smacking you over the head with her belief on abortion. She just shows you the story of what happens when this girl has an unplanned pregnancy and has to get an abortion in another state. And that alone is such a...
It's dramatic.
I mean, it's such a trip. You know what I mean? It's like such an experience that we get to go on, and it's such a like sad and like, oh man, dude, like... it's emotional, you know? I
know Frances McDormand's the favorite. I know Sydney, I'm looking at her name, Sydney Flanagan wouldn't win, but she deserves a nomination. This is her first role.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's insane. Like, she kills it.
She gives the best performance of the year in my book. Not just actress, like overall performance of the year. She's my pick. But yeah, I'll bring it up in a bit.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
This is our number 8. That's what we're on.
Your number 8, yeah.
Second documentary that we're already mentioning.
Ooh.
I didn't know anything about this, and then I just came across like movies in 2020.
Yeah,
and I came across this one, and it's called Rewind. This is a documentary.
I saw it on your letterbox.
Okay, yeah. It's hard for me to talk about this movie without spoiling it, but I think that's the only way people are gonna watch it.
Yeah.
So the concept is this guy, forget his name. I'll look at it right here because it's here. Sasha Joseph Neulinger. Yeah.
Okay.
He did a couple like acting things back in the day. Not like a huge actor. Anyway.
Yeah.
The story starts off with him going through his old home videos that his dad used to take, and within the first 10 minutes, you start to realize that him and his sister were both sexually abused as children. We're going into the dark movies for sure on this list, but you kind of unravel like who the abusers in his family tree are throughout and there's kind of video proof of it through his own home videos, and there's like and like they show evidence like that he drew as a child that he returns to, like because this guy's like 30 something now, so he's seeing shit he drew as a 6-year-old about like certain people doing shit to him. It's one, like if you're into crime documentaries, this is the most personal crime documentary I've probably seen in a while, where it's this dude who has to like pretty much relive this shit he tried to bury in his mind.
Yeah.
All for the purpose of making his own documentary. Like, there's a lot of documentaries this year. Like I mentioned already, My Brother Jordan. where it's about people confronting like their past and their family and shit. And this is the creepiest out of all of them. Really
interesting.
A similar situation where you don't need a huge budget to tell a crazy story. This guy kind of just wanted to make his own documentary about himself and his family, and it really made me fucking uncomfortable. I know that we haven't really talked about many happy movies on this list yet, but shit, dude,
accurately, reflects the year.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel,
a dreadful documentary, but it's a damn good one. I think it's one no one really saw this year, and it was kind of just one I was like, I guess I'll check it out. Yeah, it was short. It was like 86 minutes, so I was like, you know what, let me pop it on in our 2020 movie to check out, and I'm really glad I did. I think it's one of the strongest like I said, I don't usually put documentaries on my list that much. Strong year for documentaries. What can I say?
Let me know where to watch it, because I'm into it.
It was on Prime, and then I think they took it off Prime, so I rented it on Amazon for like $3, but I might go back on Prime. We'll see.
That sounds like it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. Dude, it is a crazy documentary, bro.
Oh, man, because I'm already imagining like that feeling of,
dude, there's scenes in there where like he's just sitting at the drawing he did as a kid, and you're just like the never rarely feeling where you're like, fuck. And, dude. Yeah, it's good.
Because especially recently, for the holidays I got to go home again and like be with my family. And like every time I'm back home, like it's always this like nostalgia of like my childhood, and like I get to talk to my aunts and stuff about like, growing up, and like I can only imagine going through these like tapes, and these like memories that like you thought you had kind of, and then like realizing oh man,
it's bad. Dude,
I'm gonna watch this.
It's crazy. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch
it's
this.
Worth it. It's called Rewind once again. Yeah. It's my number 8 pick.
I'm sold.
Andres, what's your number 7?
Number 7. Quite a controversial one this year, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw it. I think you did.
What?
Because I made sure to look up your review of it.
Okay.
Just to know where you stood on this movie. I'm thinking of Ending Things.
My number 7. It took me a second to think. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it.
Thinking of Ending Things is number 7. But for me, all right, so Charlie Kaufman to me is a very, I'm gonna say, as honestly as possible, to me personally, Charlie Kaufman's very hit or miss.
I mean, we might be the only people on the planet that agree, it seems like, but he's the guy that wrote Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Being John Malkovich, and then he directed Synecdoche, New York, and Anomalisa.
Yeah.
So if you're like into film, you know who Charlie Kaufman is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Charlie Kaufman, he's always been kind of like in that same circle as Spike Jonze and like his other freaking collaborator.
In terms of directors, I thought it was just Spike Jonze. Who's the other guy?
Was it just Spike Jonze?
I mean, Spike Jonze directed Adaptation, Being John Malkovich.
It might have just been Spike Jonze, but like I felt there was someone else there. Either way, but like I saw Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think that movie's vastly overrated.
I think it's good.
I think it's good.
It's not one of the best of all time.
Exactly.
In my book. I know a lot of people love it.
Exactly. I think it's good, but I wasn't blown away by it.
Yeah.
Recently, I saw Being John Malkovich. Same thing. I was like, this is okay.
I haven't seen it in years, but I really liked it when I saw it.
And that's fair. And it's like, I
didn't love it.
Exactly. But it's like, I could see why people like these movies. Just something about them isn't for me. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Synecdoche, New York. I've been wanting to for a while.
Well, this is my argument. I feel the same way about Charlie Kaufman, but I think Synecdoche, New York is great.
Yeah.
I think it's by far his best work. And I think a lot of what he tried to say with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, he just says way better in Synecdoche, New York.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely want to watch it, for sure.
I think you will love it.
I don't doubt it, because I also really like the Anomalisa.
I thought, put it this way. 3 out of 5 just means above average on my letterbox. I gave it a 3. The animation was good enough. I think Anomalisa, like you said with Eternal Sunshine, I think it's grossly overrated, but I haven't seen it since
surprisingly, that was the first I had actually like heard of Charlie Kaufman as like Charlie Kaufman. You know what I mean? When I watched Anomalisa, I was like, oh, this is Charlie. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I liked it because of because at the time, I was like getting into film and like really exploring like different avenues of film, and like to me it was this like, you know, it's an animated film with an adult narrative, and I love that. I was like, wow, this is like so cool. I've never seen anything like this. So I really liked it because of that. But I'm thinking of ending things, so I actually read the book first.
I did not. No.
And that's why I think I loved it so much.
Okay.
And like I feel like I wouldn't have liked it as much had I not read it. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Where like I probably would have been more meh on it, or maybe like been more confused, because the book really does. I'm just gonna be honest and say that the book does a better job at telling the story than the movie does.
Okay.
But I love both. But I feel like they almost live separately, because like they tell the same story, but they do it in almost like a different tone also, because the book's a lot darker.
The book's a lot darker?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It like.
Well, I know it's called I'm Thinking of Anything, but shit, the movie's pretty dark.
Like the book feels, I don't know, like it feels more drab and desolate, kind of in like the Never Rarely Sometimes way. It definitely just feels more drab, more desolate. Whereas this still has that kind of quirky, like Charlie Kaufman vibe to it. So they differ, and the ending is also very different in both. It's like the same concept, but it's very different in both.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm all right. So, do you read often at all, or no?
I do, but I don't really read fiction. I just read like nonfiction shit.
If you're gonna read fiction, I would say maybe give this story another try and read the book.
Okay.
Because like it does such a good job, especially once you get to that the last few pages.
I'll tell you, I think a lot of people hated it.
Dude.
The people that hated it said it was pretentious and didn't really get it. I'm someone that thinks it was pretentious, but I did get it. That's the problem.
Exactly. Like, that's fine.
The whole time I was like, well, obviously it's this happening.
Yeah.
And then it was me and my two roommates, Jake and Adam. We were sitting here, and we were all kind of thinking the same thing. I get the appeal of why someone would like it. I just thought, I was like, this is the reason I don't fuck with Charlie Kaufman as much as I want to.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, it's totally pretentious in like a lot of, you know, what it says, I feel. And then like, and then there's like also like so many moments that Charlie added, you know what I mean? Like conversations and like lines that he changed and whatnot. Because you know, it's an adaptation. It's not a direct telling of the story. And like, he made it more about film and filmmaking. And there were moments where I was watching and I was like, this isn't. I was like, I'm not really vibing with this. But like the overall product does such a great job of telling this, which to me was like such a great story. That, you know, it has to be up there for me. Like I love it.
That's fair.
And I love the style, and I love his directing, and I love all the performances in it. It's great, you know.
I don't agree, but yeah.
That's fine.
Like,
you know?
I was just like, put it this way, when they were at the house with like Toni Collette and stuff, I was really into it. I was like, okay, this is when it's at its best. But them in the car, I was like, this is boring as shit.
Listen,
yeah,
I don't recommend this movie.
That's the best way to put it.
To a lot of people. I loved it, but like my roommate, I like showed him the trailer for it, and he's like, oh yeah, that looks good. But after I watched it, I came home because I watched it at our friend Fernando's house. I got home and he's like, oh, you know, how was the movie? I was like, dude, honestly, don't watch it.
Yeah,
I was like, it's not for you. Like, oh god, that sounds so pretentious, but it really isn't for like. I just can't recommend it to everyone.
It's a type of movie. Well, here's the thing: it falls in the category of I like movies that when I go into them, I know I'm going to have to pay attention to everything, and that's what I did with this. And I'm very into that kind of movie. I don't know. I feel like he did in Synecdoche, New York, which I saw this year for the first time, and I thought it was great. I just think a lot of what he was trying to say with that, he does better in that.
Exactly.
And I don't know. There's details I like, and I'm thinking of ending things. Just, I did not enjoy watching it. I thought it was okay.
No, that's understandable
for me. Yeah,
like I said, understandable. I can't recommend this movie to everyone. I feel like you have to know who you can recommend stuff to.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is not something I could just be like, go watch. I'm thinking of ending things.
If you're into filmmaking as like a craft and really into like trying to make your own movies, I think you would have seen this by now anyway.
Yeah. and have.
But I do like movies like I'm Thinking of Ending Things because I like when everyone has a different opinion about it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why like I totally understand why people hate it because like my other friend saw it, he gave it like 2 stars, and I was like honestly, honestly, it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we were able to bring it up. You know what I mean? It's good for that. My number 7, we both saw together at Sundance. We were like 5 seats away from Ethan Hawke. You said, "Have a nice night, Ethan." And he said, "You too."
You too, man.
Yes, sir.
So I was like,
So that was a cool flex. But regardless, Charm City Kings is on HBO Max.
Plug it, bro.
Maybe the most underrated movie. Actually, no. There's one that's even more underrated that we'll get to soon, I think. But Charm City Kings has your boy Meek Mill in it. So my people in Philly, you already know. He was actually really good in the movie. He's a pretty good actor. Takes place in Baltimore and follows these 3 kids that really want to get involved in the biker gangs in Baltimore. And they basically are just trying to make it in this gang. And that's all I'll really say. It's very... this is how I defined it when we first got to Sundance. And I'll stick by it. If you're into Goodfellas, if you're into that first 20 minutes of Goodfellas when he's a kid being a gangster, imagine that as like a full-ass movie. Just in the hood with the biker gangs, though. Yeah. It's awesome. The sequences where the biker gangs are like running from police and like they're revving up the bikes is awesome. And I really think this movie has a lot of heart. I haven't seen it since Sundance, but I remember just being like, damn, I can't wait to see this again in theaters. And then 2020 happened. I just really think it got slept on. And it feels like one of those indie movies that would blow up in a mainstream way, though. Like,
that's what I thought too. Yeah. I thought this would be really popular.
I thought so too, and I think maybe it's just the HBO Max thing. Like,
it could be that, and like I feel like I didn't really. All right, I feel like I personally didn't see much about it outside of, because I follow the director on Twitter.
Okay.
So like I saw a lot about it when it was coming out, but like I didn't really see anyone outside of like my Twitter feed because like you know he was sharing a lot of stuff about it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I didn't really hear anyone talk about it, which is sad.
Yeah, it kind of just got dumped on HBO Max.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it was like one of their first exclusives.
Yeah.
Which isn't really like, I don't know, like, was it a draw at the beginning? I don't know, you know?
I think, put it this way, might be a weird hot take. You put Charm City Kings on Netflix, I'm not saying it's like the biggest movie.
But it definitely would have gotten
I think it gets
more
way
attention.
more attention, yeah.
But that's because Netflix was like already. I mean, like it's
what I'm saying. But no one really talked about Bad Education. I think like film people kind of did a little bit more, but it was kind of the same thing where it was kind of just dropped and no one really talked about it.
I feel like HBO Max should have started with a bigger movie, and then after they had like an established, you know, set of subscribers, that's when they can like start promoting these. And like I really hope that this movie does get more attention, maybe like later down the road it might go viral or something, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
because it definitely deserves to, for sure. Like I love this movie.
I thought it was awesome. I think Charm City Kings, unlike I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I think Charm City Kings is something you can recommend to anybody.
Absolutely,
and they'll enjoy it.
No, I totally agree, and I went into it kind of not knowing what to expect because I feel like it could have been good, and like that's the thing with like film festivals is like, you know, just because, you know, an actor's attached or like a writer's attached or a producer doesn't mean that the movie itself is gonna like automatically like connect with you or like be great. But this movie, you know, like basically everything else I saw, I was really hoping it was, because it just seemed like such a cool concept. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that it actually ended up being great.
So it did not make your list.
Unfortunately, no, just outside of it.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
So it's got the recommendation for both of us. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Go give it some support. I think it's a movie that deserves some attention for sure.
I'm thinking of changing things.
Yes, sir. After that. That was my number 7. So what is your number 6?
Ooh, dude, my number 6 is actually recently released on Amazon Prime.
What is that?
Sound of Metal.
Oh, okay. I saw this. I liked it.
Dude, Sound of Metal to me is great. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The sound design.
Well, talk about what the movie is first for people that don't know what it is.
So, Sound of Metal is Riz Ahmed from Nightcrawler.
And
The Night of, and he was in...
He was in Rogue One, right?
Was he in Rogue One?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I knew he was in like a big
Yeah, because I checked his filmography recently. I was like, oh shit, he was in Rogue One. Yeah.
Dude, I've been a fan of him since I saw him in Nightcrawler.
Same.
And I was like,
think he's on the come up for sure.
Yeah, I was like, this kid's great. And this movie just further proves that. He is brilliant in this movie. So Riz Ahmed is he's a drummer for a metal band. And basically what happens is that, like, metal music is very loud, especially performing it every day, for like God knows how many weeks and like, rehearsing and everything. He starts to lose his hearing. Now, what's brilliant about it is the way that they show you that deterioration. Yeah. And like not only deterioration of his hearing, but like also his whole, just basically his whole like lifestyle is gone, because being a metal drummer and everything. And he to me, he's brilliant. Honestly, he's probably my favorite male performance this year.
I'd have to double check through no, I'll talk about who my favorite
really
is.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. That's fine. But like, I know that there's a lot of male performances that I enjoyed, like Hugh Jackman, Bad Education, stuff like that. One that I'll talk about later that I also loved, but his performance in this is just phenomenal. And me, who I've been like looking forward to his career, and like every time he's in a movie, I'm like, oh, cool, he's in this. Seeing him just shine on the level that he does in this movie is really, really cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's a very emotional story. It's a very touching story about like almost addiction. You know what I mean?
It is.
It's a story. It is.
It's kind of like how much you're willing to push to put your health literally at risk.
It's about addiction and like dedication and like, passion and like having loved ones, and it's great. I love it. Definitely recommend it on Amazon Prime. Getting some awards buzz now, actually.
It is, yeah.
It is.
It's putting Amazon in the loop, and it
is. Again, what we were talking about.
It's funny. I was looking forward to this movie years ago.
Really?
Because Derek Cianfrance, I guess, was the director. He directed Place Beyond the Pines, Blue Valentine, and I was obsessed with Place Beyond the Pines.
How did I completely overlook that?
He wrote it with the director, and the guy that directed it worked on Place Beyond the Pines, I think, with him and stuff like that. So it was on my radar for years, and it just never got made. And then I saw it dropped at TIFF. I was like, is this like the movie I wanted to see years ago? And it was. And this guy took over directing. I put it this way. I think Sound of Metal's a good movie. I think it deserves the praise. Yeah. I think Riz Ahmed is really good. I think there's ways they handle being deaf that were really interesting. Like there's a point where he's sitting at a dinner table with a bunch of people doing sign language, and usually when we see people, or when people with sign language are in the real world, like they feel like they're left out because they don't get what's going on, and they put you in the seat of someone where you feel left out and everyone else at the dinner table is signing, and that part I was like, okay, this is really good.
It's great.
The thing that kept me from it being a good movie to a great movie, I felt like every single plot point I said, oh, it's going to go here. Like 5 minutes before, I'm like, oh, it's definitely going to go here. And it goes there.
For sure.
And then I'm like, oh, now it's going to go here. And it went there. So that was the only thing that kept it from being great to me. Yeah. But it's still a really solid movie, I think.
Yeah, it's understandable. I think for me, what it was that pushed it over the edge was just how unique it is with like, with like how it portrays deaf people. And like, I'm all about like inclusivity and like diversity and stuff like that. So seeing like such a unique perspective and like a story told in like such a unique way really like put it up there for me, so that's why I loved it.
That's fair. It's a good movie. I would recommend it as well. If I was making honorable mentions, it would probably make the cut somewhere in there. It's probably in my top 20-ish.
Amazon Prime, hopefully he gets that Oscar nomination. If not, like maybe the Independent Spirit Award or something.
Probably, honestly,
or Critics' Choice.
So I have a streaming movie up next, a Netflix film. I feel like it's going to be on your list. You talked about it at Sundance last year. I didn't catch it at Sundance. I catched it on Netflix. My last documentary I'm going to mention, Dick Johnson is Dead, makes the cut.
That was this year.
This year's Sundance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, you saw it at Sundance?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I'm saying I missed it at Sundance. And
okay, got you.
I caught it on Netflix a couple weeks ago. Kirsten Johnson. I just made sure. I wasn't sure if it was Kristen Kirsten. Yeah. I just watched your other documentary, Camera Person. She's my favorite documentarian right now, I would say. Just because I think the way she makes documentaries, even though they're not like my favorite movies ever, immediately you're like, I have to make my own version of this documentary. So she's if you're a filmmaker, you are going to love her movies. And even if you're not, Dick Johnson is Dead. The concept is she's making this movie about her dad, and she's making him think that this is like a fiction film where they playfully like kill him off in creative ways. Like the first one you see is like an AC unit drops out of the sky and like kills him as a joke. It's like a stunt double. Yeah. And it starts off like this kind of quirky documentary type thing, but she gets into why she's making it and how she really just wants to have footage of her final years of her dad being around her and her family. Just a fucking hit of a documentary.
Absolutely.
Is the only way I could describe it. It's just so emotional. It's such a genius way. And you probably understand this too, as like making videos yourself. I'm constantly like, if I'm ever around friends or family, sometimes I'm like, damn, I should probably pull the camera out and just get some home video.
Absolutely.
Because this moment is going to pass. And there's, without spoiling too much, there's a reason because with her mom, she only has a select handful of footage.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that when she brings up that part, I'm like, fuck, I really gotta start recording my family. Like
that's how for sure.
That's how it hits.
That's how I felt too. And like after watching it, I don't think I could ever make a movie like this. Like even if I do, it'd be something completely different. But like, just like you said, just the simple act of like having these memories to like look back on, and it's like I do it all the time too. It's like I'll look through my phone at like videos and stuff of like however many years ago and like laugh and smile or whatever. This movie just captures that so well, and just like that like desire to like almost immortalize like your loved ones in a way. You know what I mean?
It's the only way you can really do it.
This is her way of doing that, and I love that.
The ending's great, though. The way they pull that off.
Yeah.
Did it make your list? Out of curiosity.
We shall see.
Okay, we can hold off a little bit then. We can hold off a little bit.
We shall see.
Dick Johnson is Dead. It's on Netflix.
Definitely recommend it.
I can't explain it any other way other than it's the documentary you should watch this year.
I've been desperately wanting to rewatch it, but I want to watch it with someone that hasn't seen it.
Fair,
which is why I haven't seen it again, because I really want to watch it with either my roommate or my parents or whoever. I mean, probably my parents.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's great. I mean, if you're probably sold on the concept alone, so it's exactly, put it this way, it's exactly what you think it's going to be, but it still hits on the emotion that you think it's going to. So
absolutely,
that's the way I describe Dick Johnson is Dead.
So I guess we could talk about the top 5 now.
This is the top 5, man. We're getting into it. What is your number 5 pick?
Number 5 for me is Soul, Pixar.
Yes, sir. It's on my list as well, so we could talk about it for sure.
Absolutely. So Soul is Pixar's new banger. I feel like Pixar has many bangers.
They do have many bangers
throughout the years, but this one is also a banger. I don't think I've liked the Pixar movie this much since I think Inside Out.
Okay, which was Pete Docter's last one.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I loved Coco. I loved Toy Story 4, Incredibles 2, all that. But Inside Out, like, the concept of it was brilliant. Soul's concept is incredible. This like afterlife concept and like the way, like the art style and just like everything about it is so unique, and like the jazz aspect of it, and like it's great, like I can't praise this movie enough. Pixar just has such a unique way of just like capturing these emotions, or like not Pixar, but you know what I mean. It's like Pixar always gets these stories that are just like unique, and they're not just like standard like children's animated movies. These are like deep,
make you think.
Exactly. I was watching this movie and I was like, dude, I don't know how they're gonna show this to kids, because it's such a like deep topic. You know what I mean? It's such a next level idea, this like whole afterlife.
It's them telling kids, hey, you're gonna die. Like
basically, that's why I like it, but like there's also stuff in there for adults too, and there's like stuff in there for like people our age, and like it's great. I love Soul.
I mean, I do too. I'll talk about it in a bit, probably, because it's one of my favorites of the year for sure.
Available on Disney Plus now.
It is on Disney Plus. It is streaming. So,
yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about it more a little bit later, but it's just hilarious. It's well written. The concept's incredible. The art style is incredible. There were moments in this movie where I was watching, I was like, wow. This looks amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I have a lot to say about Soul, I think. But yeah, we'll talk about it later.
All right,
is there anything else you wanted to say?
I mean,
because we can always loop back to it. Because we will.
We will eventually. So I'll just get back into it again later. What's your number 5?
Number 5. I mentioned earlier, Small Axe. I was gonna bring it up. This
Interesting.
is Steve McQueen's 5-film series. At first, I thought it was a show. So basically, Steve McQueen's a baller. All right, he told Amazon, "I want to make a show miniseries, 5 episodes." He took their money and he made 5 whole-ass feature-length films in 1 year.
I thought they were shorts.
They're not. That's the thing.
I know that now.
They're all at least an hour. Yeah. These are full-ass movies that this dude made. This is the guy that made 12 Years a Slave, Hunger, Shame, Widows, which is my favorite from him.
I love
which
Widows.
Was his, Widows is a
underrated.
Banger. Yeah,
grossly underrated.
Amazing movie. So I was stoked about this show. I watched all 5. I will say this might be a hot take. I don't want it to sound like a hot take. Overall, I thought the show was really disappointing.
Ooh, interesting.
Not that any of the episodes, it's not episodes. Not that any of the movies were bad. I thought Mangrove was okay. I'm not really a court drama guy, so I knew it probably wasn't going to be my thing. Lovers Rock I thought was okay, honestly. I thought it... Put it this way, Dazed and Confused is my favorite movie, and the reason I think party movies are great is if you have great characters. Yeah. I wanted more from the characters in Lovers Rock.
I agree.
Okay, fair.
I agree.
Okay.
100%.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Education I thought was pretty good. You said you've only seen Lovers Rock.
I've only seen Lovers Rock.
Education is pretty good.
Okay.
Alex Wheatle I thought was okay. Alex Wheatle had potential of being a favorite of me. Yeah. For me. I just thought... It wasn't like they should have delved more into it. It kind of just skipped around a bit.
Okay.
That being said, Red, White, and Blue is the 3rd film in the series. It's a fucking
up there,
banger. Yeah.
Dang,
so we were talking earlier, what's the best performance of the year? I still think Sydney from Never Rarely is the overall best.
Yeah.
Best male performance, though?
John Boyega.
John Boyega, baby.
Dude.
Is incredible in this damn movie. So this is based off a true story. It's about John Boyega, who basically wants to become a police officer. I think it's in the 80s of London. All the stories take place between the 60s and 80s in London. I think this one's in the 80s. Based off a real dude. And the entire movie is about him trying to change the criminal justice system in London. The scenes... So here's why I really fuck with Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I think... kind of how we were talking about earlier, how it's easy to make political movies cringe. Steve McQueen's always escaped that, and Widows is a prime example of... Widows is a heist movie that tackles racism in a completely unique way. Yeah. And what I like about Red, White, and Blue is there's scenes where John Boyega is in a scenario, and you've seen it play out a million times, and you're like, oh... This dude's just gonna be sad and walk away and complain to his wife at home, like how racist the other people in the fucking London PD are, right?
Did you watch them in order?
I did.
Okay,
yeah, I did, and I think there's some cringe-ish like political things in the other ones that comes off just cringy compared to Red, White, and Blue.
Like
maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Or preachy might not be the right word for it. It just comes off as goofy, like goofy racism in a way. You know, like the stereotypical like I'm the bad white cop thing, which is like I get it, but it comes off. You could have did a little better, like they do in Red, White, and Blue, which is why it confused me.
Yeah.
There's a scene where this man shoves a fucking locker and is going off in this room with all these cops, bro, and I was like, oh, John Boyega is here not to mess around, bro. It's the best acted of the 5 by far. There's a long take that's fucking great. I'm a sucker for those. I just think I think the reason I was disappointed by Small Axe was because when I thought Steve McQueen was going to make 5 movies, I thought they were all going to be this quality.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this is by far the best one. If they were all this quality, I would have said Small Axe is probably one of the best quote-unquote shows in years. I think the series is worth watching. Yeah. But if you're going to just watch one of them, Red, White, and Blue with John Boyega is the banger. I know a lot of them, if they're pushing for Oscars this year, they're pushing for Mangrove and Lovers Rock.
Yeah. And that's why those were like the 2 ones that I was gonna like.
In my opinion, they're making the wrong choice. I think Red, White, and Blue you should go all in on.
I feel like this is one of the most slept on ones, for sure.
It is.
Like,
and it
Red, White, and Blue is like absolutely slept on, which is why I was surprised that it wasn't like Mangrove or Lovers Rock. Yeah. I was like, what? Dang, I definitely got to finish it, bro. I definitely got to finish watching it.
The series is worth watching, for sure. Yeah.
And Steve McQueen's amazing, yes, I'll definitely get into it.
Yeah, man. Red, White, and Blue. It's banger.
I will.
It makes Small Axe worth it. And if you're only going to watch one, I'd recommend Red, White, and Blue. But that being said, everyone's loving Mangrove and Lover's Rock. So
and I'm also glad
that,
real quick, one last point, is that, like, I'm really glad John Boyega, based on like what you were saying, because like, you know, he's very political online and stuff like that, and like I'm really glad that he could kind of like channel all that energy into like this role.
There's a line where they basically say "fuck you, Star Wars" in the movie too. It's great. Yeah, it's
dude.
Awesome.
Oh man,
it's so good.
Excited.
I think you'll love it.
This is the work that like he's gonna end up like getting more of.
Exactly.
I mean? He's like
and
really.
He deserves. John Boyega, like I always thought he was a good actor. This is the movie that made me go, "Oh, this dude's great."
Oh, that's
give him more stuff.
I'm excited now.
Yeah,
all right, I'll definitely
check
watch
it out.
Yeah.
So what's your number 4, Andres? What we got?
Number 4 we talked about already. It's Dick Johnson is dead.
Oh, he's bringing it up.
I'm bringing it up, and I want to bring up one specific instance about this movie.
Okay.
Where, also circling back to something we talked about earlier, crying in movies is not something I do very often, if at all. When I watched this movie at Sundance, I not only teared up, I counted.
You counted each individual tear?
I shed 4 tears.
Damn, look at you.
Watching this movie, dude. I was like, wow.
4 tears for your number 4 of the year.
4 tears for my number 4 of the year. Dick Johnson is dead. Amazing. I have talked about this movie basically every day since I saw it.
You were talking about it every day when we were there.
Exactly. And just hoping that it would come out on Netflix, because after the pandemic hit, a lot of stuff got pushed back, and I think it was supposed to come out in June originally, but it came out in what, like October?
Yeah, just a couple months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you know, I heard no news, no word of it, no trailer, nothing. I was like, man, is this movie ever gonna come out? Because like it's on Netflix, so it can come out like any time during the year. But I was just waiting for it, dude. And I will recommend this movie to anyone. Like you were saying about movies you can recommend to people.
Yeah.
If you have any if you have a soul, if you have any relationship with like not even your parents, with like just anyone older that has like raised you in some way, this is a movie you should watch.
Yeah.
And like, if you have any just love for life, just watch Dick Johnson.
Hey, that's fair.
Just watch this movie. Like right after Soul, it's like these 2 movies about death.
Yeah.
Basically. God, it just tackles the idea of like, you know, we're all gonna die eventually.
I think about it all the time.
Exactly. We're all gonna die at some point. It's inevitable, especially like once you have parents that are older. You know, it's just you know, you have to think about it, you have to address it, and the way this movie addresses it and talks about it is amazing. Yeah. I want to watch this movie again. I've been dying to watch it again. Like I said earlier, I'm just waiting to watch it with someone that hasn't seen it. Mainly because I want to see their reaction. Yeah. And also, like, I just want to break down again. There's a way I broke down.
You want to shed
Sundance.
4 more tears right there.
I need 4 more tears.
You might
from
need
Dick
5.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude.
This is the movie I'll probably play. I don't... Hopefully not anytime soon, but this is the film I'll watch when my parents die, type shit. Like
absolutely,
this is like I said, it's my number 6.
Yeah,
so I love it as well.
Yeah,
I really think it's the best documentary of the year for sure.
Absolutely, and again, 2 documentaries in my top 10. Never expected it.
Yes, sir. I got 3.
Never thought this would happen.
I didn't think I'd be the documentary guy, but here we are.
I mean, who knows? I mean, from this point on, next year we might have 5.
It could be the whole list. You never know. But 9 days will probably still be in there, so maybe 9.
Probably not next year, but maybe the year after that. Yeah. We'll see. But no, Dick Johnson is dead. Absolutely one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's one of the... All right, so I'm kind of particular about ratings.
Okay.
In some regards, like a lot of documentaries I think are great. I usually just give like 4 stars.
Uh-huh.
But like, there's like a few that I'm like 4.5.
4.5.
4.5. This is a 4.5.
Have you met the 5 documentary yet?
I have not met a 5 documentary.
I don't know if I have either. Nothing about.
Maybe I will.
Bowling for
Maybe this'll
was really close.
Which one?
Bowling for Columbine.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Maybe that's your 5, bro.
See, Dear Zachary.
I've not seen that yet.
Dear Zachary is a 4.5. Bordering on 5.
Okay, that's been on my list also, forever. Yeah.
Definitely recommend. But anyways, Dick Johnson is dead though. Absolutely. It's a movie I recommend to anyone, like you said, with a soul. Anyone with parents. Anyone,
which is pretty much everybody.
Anyone that likes
even if your parents suck, even if they're shitty.
Even if your parents suck, watch Dick Johnson is Dead.
It's your number 4.
Number 4.
Hey, my number 4.
Yes.
A movie I had zero expectations for.
Interesting.
But I was like, what came out this year? This was like a month ago where I'm like, okay, I want to play some 2020 catch up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, actually. Did you see The Assistant?
Bro, I am so glad you bring up The Assistant.
Really?
Because
I was just miss
because it did.
Okay.
But it was also a movie that, like, if there was an honorable mention section, it would be on there.
Okay. It's making my number 4.
I'm glad it is.
I want to be careful what I say on camera because the reason I like this movie so much wasn't the reason I feel like most people liked it. Like, if you don't know, The Assistant on paper is a boring movie.
Yeah, I would say.
It's a film about an assistant that works for a film production company.
Yeah.
Where it's insinuated that the main dude is a Harvey Weinstein type figure where he's taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
It does that really well.
Yeah.
The reason I fuck with this movie heavy is, hey, you do what you want in life. A 9 to 5 scares the fuck out of me. It really, I feel like there's a lot of pointless tasks that you're constantly doing for no fucking reason. And this is a film about trying to break into the film industry. And there's a lot of quote-unquote entry-level jobs where you're really doing nothing and they're promising you, oh yeah, this is how you get into the industry, this is what everyone does. And it tackles that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And there's a movie in the Criterion Collection that a lot of people love, Jean Dielman or whatever it was, the one with the address, which is a similar movie to this.
Interesting, okay.
Similar in the sense that it revolves around doing a lot of pointless tasks. The difference is that one's 3 hours and really boring and kind of has a payoff. I didn't really fuck with it. This one, on the other hand, this one, on the other hand, I think is a way better version of it. Not just because it's shorter, but just because the acting is phenomenal. Really subtle at the same time, though. The movie just feels dirty and. God, if you've ever just worked a job, like you don't want to admit to yourself that you've been through this, but you know for a damn fact you have if you've had any sort of shitty job ever like this.
Absolutely,
And I think that's what the movie gets well. That's why I connect with it so heavy.
Yeah.
But like I said, the whole Harvey Weinstein aspect of it is still handled really well.
Yeah.
I still think that makes it worth watching. Just if you're another one where if you're trying to get into the film industry and you haven't seen this yet, I think it's really worth seeing, and I think it's really I would say this is the most underrated movie of the year because I've heard no one else talk about it.
It almost feels like just every movie this year has been underrated because no one knows that these movies came out, dude. Which is why I feel like it's so important that we talk about them. Yeah, you know, but. Dude, I called The Assistant a horror movie. Because
it is a horror movie.
It's a horror movie, dude. It's terrifying. So many aspects of it. Because, like you said, not only is it the 9 to 5 aspect of it, because I also saw that and I was like, wow, that looks terrible. But then also, like, there's that... And then there's, like, the whole, like, being a woman trying to get into the film industry is also terrifying. Because you don't know who's going to be a dick to you, who's going to be an asshole, who's going to, like, try to take advantage of you. And it's, like, you know... They talk about it basically every time you bring up Hollywood. You know, everyone always talks about how abusive like producers and stuff can be, but it's like actually being there and like your whole career depending on like some asshole. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's scary, and then like all the monotony of it. You know what I mean?
For an unpaid entry level job where you're there longer than everyone else.
Exactly, dude. And I love that movie. It is a horror movie. But
this is why I'm glad we have like somewhat different lists where like, we don't have a ton in common on the list, but we get to bring up all these movies that in a year where everyone's like, did movies come out in 2020? Hell yeah,
they did come out. The Assistant came out. Go watch that if you want to work it, or honestly, just watch it in general if you like a good tense. Yeah, a tense hour and a half
kind of horror movie that you wouldn't expect. Like this is the type of movie. I don't know if I could recommend it to everybody because there's going to be people that find it boring, but at the same time, I think it is a movie, if you're willing to sit down and know you're getting into a slower burn of a film, The Assistant's a banger. It's my number 4.
Dude, I remember, real quick, before we move on, I just remember sitting through this movie and watching this girl, and I'm like, dude, I want nothing more but the best for her. You know what I mean? Exactly. I was so worried for her. can't recommend it enough. It's on Hulu.
And we're dudes, but I see myself in that position in a way, in a different context. But it's like,
exactly.
Fuck yeah, that's where it gets through. Yeah. There's a conversation on the phone at the end. I was like, oh my god. Yeah. They get it for sure. Yeah. Highly recommend The Assistant. Like you said, that's my number 4. Andreas, what's your number 3?
Number 3 was my biggest miss at Sundance. It was the movie I was the most upset that I didn't get to see at Sundance, that I didn't get to see at all throughout the year until I finally got to see it because it came out in theaters this month, or last month now. Promising Young Woman.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. This is getting a lot of buzz from people. I saw it at Sundance, yeah.
I know. You saw it at Sundance, and I was so mad because I was in the wait list for it.
I forgot about that.
I was in the wait list for it, and I didn't get in. And it was one of my most anticipated at Sundance. And I didn't get to see it there, but I'm glad I finally got to see it, and I'm glad it's on my list. Number 3, Promising Young Woman. I love this movie. For me, a big thing is style. And this is Emerald Fennell. I believe it's her directorial debut.
Okay. For a directional debut, it's
for a directorial debut. It's very polished. Yeah. This is the style is so consistent. The directing's great. The performances are amazing. The writing I thought was excellent. The ending. The
ending is banging.
I was so worried. I was so worried when it came to that last half. Mm-hmm. And the way it ends, I wanted to run out of my room.
Fair.
It was incredible. Cannot recommend it enough. Carey Mulligan, I think, deserves an Oscar for this performance, personally.
Really?
Absolutely, bro.
Okay.
Absolutely, bro. She's
over
killer.
Sydney from Never Really, Sometimes Always.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, no way.
If by some miracle
Sydney's first film, she pulls out that.
I suppose, but but that's even thinking that she's gonna get nominated. Mm-hmm. If they're both nominated, maybe there's a conversation there. But I'm talking about actual chances of being nominated. Yeah. I think Carey Mulligan should get nominated and should win for this role.
Okay.
Personally, that is the best. And listen, I'm going to talk about another female role later on.
Okay.
Very shortly. But this is just phenomenal to me. And I've always loved Carey Mulligan because she's so good in basically every role she plays. I loved her in Wildlife. I loved her in what's the other fucking movie she was in that she killed it in?
What else has she got?
So
that
my brain just
in the meantime, died. I saw Promising Young Woman as well. I thought I kept going back and forth between an okay rating and a good rating. Here's my thing. I think it's a good movie. I think I settled on good rating.
Yeah.
I adore the last 30 minutes of Promising Young Woman. I think it's great. Yeah. The rest of it, I have a pet peeve with movies where the concept is brilliant.
Yeah.
But I don't think it executes as good as it can on the premise.
Yeah.
However, there is a scene in that first 2/3 with a dean that is great.
I love that scene.
That scene's that's what I think about the movie. That and the ending. If you don't know, the concept is this woman that wants to get revenge on people that have wronged her in the past. That's all I'll kind of say. It's a basic revenge movie with a twist on it that is worth seeing for sure. What else has she been in?
Absolutely think it's worth seeing. She has been in Drive.
She wasn't Drive.
Inside Llewyn Davis. Wildlife. Great Gatsby. Pride and Prejudice. Shame. Mudbound also, which I forgot she was in Mudbound. And I feel this is the second role I've seen her where she actually shines. Mm-hmm. At least to me personally.
She's always kind of the quieter background character.
Exactly, because she always just and even in Great Gatsby she was still very quiet and shy. But in Wildlife she's she plays this struggling mother, and then in this one she plays this character that I would have never expected the quiet Carey Mulligan to play, and she's not loud, but she's definitely chaotic.
Yeah,
and she's chaotic and she's she's bitchy and shit, and it's well she is.
Yeah, well it's the best way to describe it. It's
but she's bitchy in a cool bitchy way.
It's the cool character, the cool character. That
absolutely, she's absolutely awesome in this movie, and the scene at the stoplight.
Oh shit!
That scene's amazing.
Yeah.
and this movie's hilarious. I love everything she does in this movie. I was like, yes, bitch. I was like, you do that shit. I was like, go. I was like, get that shit. You know. This movie got me hype, especially at the end, where after this movie tore me to pieces.
Yeah.
And it
the
put
last
me back
30
together.
minutes make the entire thing worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite ending.
That's a fair pick. It's a good pick.
Of the year. Absolutely. One of the most memorable endings I think I've seen in recent history, personally.
It's a fair pick, for sure.
I mean, I could even go back, like, a few years, and, like, this would have a better ending than, like, a lot of the movies in my top 5 from, like, previous years. You know what I mean?
And that's why it's in your top 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For such a, like, quote-unquote weak year, this movie's phenomenal, and definitely, like, gonna be one of the best of the decade for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you loved it that much.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth seeing. I think it's a great concept. I just wish it hit better home on a better use of the concept for the first like 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah.
But I still think it's worth seeing. I would maybe watch it again in a couple of years. That's how I feel about it. But my number 3, I'm just gonna say I've been switching around my top 3 all damn day. I kind of feel equally about all 3, but they're all so different from each other.
Yeah.
In any other year, that being said, I think a lot of these are a bit lower on the list. Maybe.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, but they're all still great. I'm just going to say it. My number 3 is the worst great movie I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
Tenet is great. And let me tell you why, all right?
Hold on.
I wasn't as big on Tenet until they re-released it like a month ago, and I'm rewatching certain scenes. Here's the thing with Tenet, right?
Did they fix it completely? They remake it?
I think the story in Tenet, if we're looking at it like a cake, right?
Yeah.
Tenet is all icing. I like icing though. There's no cake. There's zero.
Yeah.
We're not even talking bad cake. There's no cake. Like the story, I understand it. It's bad. I think the acting is fine. I think the villain, Kenneth Branagh, is really bad. I think he's really cringy. I think there's certain scenes I'm like, this is stupid for sure. That being said, though, there's something about the combination of Ludwig's score with some of the most well choreographed action, the best action I've possibly ever seen put to screen. The more I watch these scenes, bro, when he's fighting like himself, it's fucking insane. The entire intro with the opera is awesome. The scene with the cars and all that is. I have gotten to the point where I've been numbed by movie magic, man. Yeah. I'm like, I understand how they did this. And Christopher Nolan has always been one of my favorite directors, so there's always been an expectation of I want his movies to be great. Any other year, Tenet is maybe like the number 10 movie, okay? It's maybe an honorable mention. But the more I think about it, even though he disappointed me on a storytelling perspective, it's far from being even close to a majority of his work.
Yeah.
The way this man directed action here, combined with a score, the gunshots are loud. They're so loud you don't understand the dialogue. And you know what? I don't care. Like, the action itself, I sound like someone that shouldn't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to say it. The action is so unbelievable to me that I think it's worth the number 3 spot. It is the most impressive technical movie I've seen in years. Yeah. And if the story and the characters had backed it up, we're talking one of my favorites in a long time. Yeah. It could have been that.
Number 3, though.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Listen, it was like number 8 or 9 for like weeks since I saw it.
Yeah.
But I keep rewatching certain scenes. Maybe I'm biased because The Plan by Travis Scott is my song of choice in the gym now. Like, bro, it throws me in. Like, I'm ready to go. God.
Oh, no, dude.
It's like one of those movies where I'll rewatch scenes. And just, that's it. Like, I don't think I'll ever rewatch Tenet, the full thing. Yeah. But I will rewatch that beginning. I will rewatch those fight scenes every single time. If that makes any sort of justification for the list, I don't know. Like, there's times in Tenet, like, I saw it in the theater, and there were times I was hitting my roommate to the side. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like, this is so sick. And then it would disappoint me. It should have been Inception 2. That's its own podcast, I think. But, yeah, I know you don't feel the same about Tenet.
All right, so I think, listen. I get your point of, like, the action is the best part. Because I agree. I think the action in Tenet is the best part. I don't think it's nowhere near my top 5.
I mean, that's fair. I completely understand.
It's not even near my top 5 Nolan movies.
It's not in mine either. This is like my 8th favorite from him.
Oh my god, dude! Listen,
listen, I love Christopher Nolan's movies.
Understandable, yeah, understandable. But, dude, I wanted to like it. I tried my hardest to follow it, and kind of going back to that cake metaphor. If Tenet was a cake, it wouldn't be a cake. It would be like the weirdest cake where like as you're eating it, you don't really know what you're eating. You're just eating something that just tastes very sweet. Yeah, you're like, it like feels like cake. It doesn't quite taste like cake. Like it was just for me. And like this is gonna sound so simple minded of me, but I'm like, if a movie confuses me, I'd tune out.
Okay,
I don't try to discover more about or like try to understand it further. It's like I went into it actively trying to understand what they were talking about, but after a while, I got not only uninterested, I got bored.
I mean, no, it's funny. I feel the same exact way that you do.
Yeah,
but I was so blown away by all the technical shit,
and I get
that's how I felt.
And I completely get the action aspect of it because the action was great. And there were moments where I was like, wow, this is really well done. This is really well made. This is some of the coolest action, especially like the last scene I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
The scene at the airport was insane. Mm-hmm. I thought that was brilliant. Everything else was just average. And I was like...
I completely agree. We are on the same page.
I just feel
strongly about technical stuff. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Kind of like Promising Young Woman to me.
Yeah.
Maybe, or like, I'm thinking of ending things for sure.
That's what makes this year so interesting. Because, like I said, any other year, Tenet maybe secures the 10th spot for me. But we're in 2020. 2020. We're not in 2020 anymore, but we were. And it makes the cut for me.
Listen, that's fine. I mean, for sure going to be one of the more memorable films of 2020.
I agree.
Because
I'm interested to see how we talk about it like 5 years from now.
Exactly. Because like even the release of it was very monumentous.
Yeah.
In like a weird way.
It was the guinea pig. It was like, are people going to go to a theater? And
exactly.
I still feel like maybe something like Wonder Woman, even though Wonder Woman wasn't good, that would have been a better test because, I don't know, anything original is a weird blockbuster to bank on. Like, it should have been like a Black Widow or a Wonder Woman, I think, still to try that. But yeah, it was Tenet, and that was my number 3. We're down to the top 2, man. What's your top 2?
Top 2 of the year. Number 2, a film that you sorely missed. Nomad Land.
Oh yeah, I really wanted to watch this, and I couldn't. Well, I could have. I just didn't attend any of the virtual film festivals.
I don't even know if it's. Is it available anywhere right now?
It might be. Lincoln Center had screenings that I found out too late about. I really wanted to get one, couldn't. It's coming limited to theaters. Or not limited. It's going to be in theaters in February, so I'll be checking it out. Yeah, I'm really excited though.
Yeah.
So talk about Nomadland.
One of the things I've been noticing about myself recently, like my taste and stuff, and I feel like for sure, like, would you agree that like your taste changes as like time goes on?
Yeah. All the time.
And I feel like lately, I've been getting a lot more into like really realistic dramas and stories that like tell human like human stories and like portray people as people. And I think Nomadland is such a brilliant movie in the way it portrays just people. This like community of people that I didn't even know existed. Probably half the people that watch this movie, most of the people that watch this movie don't know that these people exist. It's this group of nomads, literally like these people that live out of cars and trucks and vans out in like the Midwest, and they just travel from location to location, and that's their life, you know what I mean? And it's like they live this lifestyle out, and I didn't know that people lived like this. And you know what, and it portrays them in such an honest way, and Frances McDormand is so good in this movie that it literally feels like she is just one of these people. It's such an honest film, you know what I mean? And like I love that about it. And not only that, it's beautiful too. Like the cinematography in this movie is incredible. I think she did the cinematography herself. Let me just double check that.
I mean, that's cool.
Let me just double check that.
I was excited because Chloe Zhao made The Rider. Yeah. And I thought The Rider was really good. I thought, especially the last 5 minutes I remember, but that movie too was like stunning to look at for sure.
Okay, so she didn't do the cinematography. But she did. I mean, she directed it, she produced it, wrote it, and she edited it herself.
I mean, that's sick.
Yeah. So this is like her baby, but it's such an honest honest story, and Chloe herself is from the Midwest, because I saw an interview. She's from like the Midwest, so she grew up around that area, which is why her films are so, they're all westerns, but like the new style of western. Well, if it's anything like The Rider, it's kind of like this take on a western that you don't expect from a western. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like an anti-western, which is why I like it, because I don't like westerns.
Yeah, because like it has like the technical elements of westerns, where you have like these big like wide angle shots of like landscapes, and like everyone looks so tiny in it.
But you have like, a cowboy not really being the normal cowboy.
Yeah, and like in Nomadland, the scale of the Midwest and the scale of the shot just puts into perspective how small these people are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so, oh God, like listen, if there is a movie that I could describe as like, oh, poetic, like this movie's poetic, it's fucking Nomadland. It's so good, bro. And
I can't wait.
Like I said, Frances McDormand, I hated 3 Billboards, but I admit she was great in it. Love her in Fargo. Absolutely love Fargo.
Of course.
But this is her best performance.
Really?
This, I think, is her best performance.
I love Frances McDormand. I think she's such a talent.
Her character in this is so true to like, oh man, because it's like, I know people like this. You know what I mean? Like her character in a way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like when you see it, you'll know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Where it's like that like older person that like doesn't want to accept reality in a way. You know what I mean? And she just plays it so real and so honestly, and like the movie's like, it's a statement on so many things. You know, it's a statement on life. It's a statement on like friendship and like, you know, on like capitalism. And dude, it's just perfect. And like I'm glad it's getting all this award buzz, because it really does deserve it.
Yeah.
And Chloe Zhao is directing Eternals next, and I have no doubt it's gonna be hopefully one of the best Marvel movies ever.
I mean, I hope so. Well, Disney has their track record with indie directors, so we'll see. But that is the reason I'm looking forward to that one more so, because I want to see what she'll do.
Apparently she recently. I actually don't know if it's a recent development, but I know she is involved in the writing process of it, because she says she likes to be involved in the writing process of her films. So if that is the case, then Eternals is going to be next level.
I hope so.
I'm hoping it is, because this movie is testament to just what an amazing talent she is. You know, definitely one of the best directors coming up, I would say.
I've been waiting for this movie since I actually they had a screening at my school. And one of the producers that she works with came in for the Rider, and she was like, "Yeah, she actually just started this movie with Frances McDormand that she's doing, and all this stuff.
Wow.
And we really think it's something special." And ever since then, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on the lookout for this movie." Turns out it's Nomadland. So,
dude, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I just wish I was able to see it. It was just a hard one to see this year.
And you need to text me when you do.
I will. You'll be the first person I hit up.
You need to tell me what you think about it, because I absolutely love Nomadland.
Okay. I can't wait to check it out before the Oscars this year.
What's your number 2, though?
I keep switching them.
All right.
You know what? I feel confident in which one.
Go with your gut.
Yeah. I'm thinking long term, which one will be my number 1. So I'm going to go with Soul for number 2.
Soul. Okay.
Soul. Here's why I put Soul at number 2. Pixar, to me, used to be the shit. Like, when we were growing up, we're talking when they were dropping the Toy Story movies, Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Monsters, Inc., WALL-E, Ratatouille. Like, they were dropping banger after banger after banger. And then they just started making bullshit. And I really did not... I'm not a Pixar fan, per se, anymore. They had a couple every once in a while. Inside Out was really good. Coco was really good, but just like, I don't know, Incredibles 2.
Did you like Toy Story 4?
I really liked Toy Story 4 when I saw it, and I kind of just forgot about Toy Story 4 as time passed.
That's exactly how I feel. That and Incredibles 2, same thing.
Okay, that, I mean, Finding Dory was just like a whatever movie, you know.
Same thing.
Brave was bad, and just Good Dinosaur was terrible.
Did you see Onward?
Yeah, it was okay.
It was cute.
It was. They wanted to make Shrek and they couldn't. Yeah, it was. Kind of
that's good. Actually,
that's what it was. And so I just gave up hope on Pixar as a studio that they would ever reach that level again.
Really?
Yeah, and Soul has changed my mind on that. If they keep making movies like Soul, they are back where they started. I think. Here's what I like about Soul. Okay, because I worked at Disney, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are Disney fanatics. Soul is the most anti-Disney movie Pixar's made in a long time.
I would agree.
In the sense that it's not a movie for kids. People are going to be bored out of their minds. They're going to be like, this isn't a fun movie. This is a serious movie. Like, here's the best way to put it, right? There's not really a character from Soul that you'd go meet at Disney World. You know what I mean? Like, who are you going to meet from Soul? Like, the blue person?
Yeah.
Like,
no, the little Soul 22.
You're not going to go give them a hug at Disney World. It's just not a Disney-type movie. You know what I'm saying?
So,
that is
You're
why...
me before I was born.
Yeah, exactly. No one is fucking with it like that. And we talked about how...
Maybe the cat? I don't, like...
Maybe the cat,
I don't know.
Possibly. But either way, you're not meeting any... Like... But that's okay. And the animation is absolutely stunning. There's a part where someone's playing a saxophone, and I'm like, that's a real saxophone that they put in there.
It is.
The animation is stupid detailed. The barbershop scene is super detailed. The different animation styles are awesome. The writing's brilliant. I shed a tear. I never cry. Here's the thing, right? We're talking about how 9 Days would probably be our favorite movie of the year, but it's a 2021 movie.
Similar concept,
This is the animated, not as good version of 9 Days.
I would agree.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking would be fun, but not fun at the same time? A 9 Days and Soul double feature. That would literally destroy me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
I agree.
But I would do it.
Yeah.
I would be more than willing to have this pre-life expedition.
Have you seen Afterlife yet?
No, I haven't.
The
I really
movie
want
based
to.
9 Days off?
Yeah.
He kind of ripped off Afterlife with 9 Days. That being said, they're still banging. I still kind of like 9 Days a little bit more.
I have to watch.
We'll be talking about next year. Yeah, you got till next year to watch it.
Next year to watch it.
Yes, sir. But I think about death a lot. If you've listened to this podcast, you know I think about it a lot.
Oh, dude,
and,
same.
Soul,
absolutely.
Soul, to see Disney, let alone it makes me happy to say Pixar tackle something like that, because to me it might be top 5 Pixar. Like, it's that good. I think it really is their best movie in like probably 15 years. And
interesting.
It really is happy for me to say that. So happy that the light even turned off that I'll change real quick.
All right, so
lights are back on. Ready for your number one.
Number one of the year has been my number one movie since January. Minari.
At Sundance.
At Sundance. My most anticipated going into Sundance. My favorite movie at Sundance. Favorite movie of the year. I think even if there was like a standard release, you know, or like a standard slate of films this year, you know what I mean?
A standard year.
Yeah, a standard year. Any normal year, Minari would have definitely been top 3 regardless.
Okay.
I don't know what else would have been up there for me. Maybe like Dune or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see if Dune's good. But like, you know, Minari definitely was always slated to be top 5 for me. And I have talked about this movie to everyone I know when they asked me what I saw at Sundance, when they asked me what my favorite movie was. Even this year, signing up for Sundance, for like their new account, they're like, what's your favorite Sundance movie? I was like, Minari.
That's it?
And that's it. So for me, I'm a big fan of, I guess, like, when it comes to like things I like in movies, I love cinematography. I love movies with like really distinct styles. I love like honest movies. And above all, one thing I'm noticing about myself also, like kind of how I was telling you about like my tastes in film and stuff, is that I really like autobiographical films. Okay. Autobiographical from the director or from the writer or whoever.
Less biopic, more like my life story.
More like, yeah, based on my life, because I've noticed a lot of times that like the honesty that comes through, and like especially when a director really nails that aspect of their, you know what I mean? That like you can feel the passion and the heart that they put into this movie because it means so much to them because it's their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I got the same vibe from like Honey Boy, which even though Shia didn't direct it, through the writing and through the performance, it shows.
It's obvious, yeah.
I got the same feeling in Lady Bird. It's the reason I love Lady Bird is because it feels so honest and so true to Greta Gerwig. Roma, same thing. You know, it's like even though it's Alfonso Cuarón's childhood, it's still like very much like you can feel the heart and the passion and the care he had for that movie. And this is just another movie to add to my, you know, favorites, you know, like favorites of every year, where it's an autobiographical movie with Lady Bird and Roma where, you know, this is based on the director Lee Isaac Chung's own upbringing in Arkansas, being the son of immigrants. You know what I mean? So that, again, on another level, I just related to that. You know, my parents both being immigrants. I relate to the immigrant story. Like, I relate to the language barrier that, like, I've had to help my parents with. And then on another level too, it's like seeing it at Sundance and seeing, like, you know, it's an indie feature, and me wanting to be a director, and I see, like, how he, you know, basically, like, it feels like such an attainable goal when I watch this movie, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that this movie gives me that low budget and still that good. Exactly. And it like brings into perspective, like, how brilliant a low budget, I mean, like, not even low budget, but just, like, how brilliant, like, a film can be when you don't have, like, you know, a crazy Tenet budget. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, like, you know, he made this movie with all his heart, and it shows. And the characters in this movie are amazing, and, like, the grandma's hilarious. The supporting cast is incredible. I rewatched it. I think it was like around September, for the Heartland Film Festival, which is also virtual, and they had a screening. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, definitely going to see it again, because I need to just, like, confirm whether or not it is that good, or if it was just, like, the Sundance craze. And it really is that good. It really is that honest. I don't know, man. I just share such a connection with this film that, like, at this point, like, right now, I have it at, like, 4.5. I'm probably gonna bump it up to a 5 after a few years and after a few more rewatches, once it, like, definitely, you know, sits with me and, like, you know, impacts me in, like, deeper levels. But definitely a movie that I think about very, very often throughout the year, and it's like, I don't see anything else this year that can top it. Out of the films that have come out that I have to watch, out of the films on this list, nothing just you know, matches that level of, like, of comfort that I get from watching this movie.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone that's seen it feels the same way that you do. Like, everyone really loves Minari. Yeah. I guess that's the white version of saying it. I think we were saying earlier. Minari. I think it's Minari technically, but I say Minari. I thought it was really good. Yeah. It's probably an honorable mention for me.
That's fair.
I don't know. I feel like I like it for all the reasons that you do. I wanted to like it more. It's making me sound like I didn't like the movie. I really like Minari. Yeah. I think it's got a really good cast. The little kid's great. The grandma, like you said, is great. It has the best product placement of all time. Oh, absolutely. With Mountain Dew. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, the best product placement ever put to screen. I just feel like I forgot about a lot of it. Like, it's not as memorable to me. Like, I remember we were talking when we were hanging out a couple months ago making that short film. You mentioned, that scene with something that happens at the end. I completely forgot that happened. Really? Yeah, like, it almost just completely exited my mind. So, it is a really good movie. It just didn't, I guess, sit with me throughout the past year.
And that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like it. I think it's definitely worth seing. Yeah. It's crazy to me that they're putting it in the foreign language section of the Golden Globes.
Listen, that's stupid. Because it definitely... I mean, like, it's such an American film.
It is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like... It's a movie about, you know, America, founded by immigrants. Yeah. It's about an immigrant family coming to America, trying to make a better lives for themselves. In the Midwest of America, which is the most American you can get, basically. And, like, in the Midwest, about... you know, the American dream, because that's what the movie is. It's the American dream through the eyes of this family. And like I said, like, male performances, when I was talking about Riz Ahmed, Steven Yeun, amazing in this.
He's great. Yeah.
Amazing in this. And, like, even, like, the little kid, Alan Kim, he's great. He's breakout, absolutely. The whole family is just great. The wife, God, I forgot her name, Han Yeri, she's amazing. When I rewatched it, and, like, that's my thing about, like, rewatching movies is, like, after you already get through that, like, initial impact of, like, what the story is and everything, you can, like, notice, like you know, all the small details. And watching it again, dude, like, it hit just as hard, if not harder. You know what I mean? Like, the performances and, like, just the warmth and the comfort of, like, family and, like, and like, no matter... And, like, the idea that, like, no matter how hard circumstances may be, or, like, whatever obstacle is in your way, like, you know, you can always count on those around you, and, like, family, like, is so important, you know, to these characters and to so many immigrants, you know what I mean? Because like that's all, like that's basically all we have.
Yeah, you know, I like how happy this movie makes you.
I love this movie. And like I could talk about this movie. Recommend it to anyone that has a family, anyone that likes to feel warm,
which I hope is you.
Yeah,
if you're listening,
I mean,
warm up.
Maybe you like being cold. Who knows? But no, definitely love this movie.
So that is your number one.
That was my number one.
Yeah.
What is your number one of 2020?
You went with the happier tone one. I went with the depressing one. The
positive light.
The 2020 pick. Yeah.
I know what it is.
I know you know what it is. I mentioned earlier it was going to show up later on the list. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always was probably my number 2 choice of Sundance. It was behind 9 Days. Like I said, 9 Days would probably be in this slot if it came out this year.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm cool with giving Eliza Hittman my number 1 pick because Beach Rats I was a huge fan of when I watched that back in 2017, I think that was. And this movie's fantastic. Where you stand on abortion doesn't even matter. Like, it just, you go into this movie and you are following this girl on this crazy-ass journey that is really dark, really subtle, and just uncomfortable as fuck the entire time. And just the making of this movie, like, I've been a fan of Eliza Hittman for a while because she just knows how to make realistic characters for the environment. Like, for Beach Rats, she casts real beach rats. Like, you watch the interviews with these bums, they're the same people off screen as they are on screen.
Yeah.
And it's just the little things in this movie too. Like, there's a part where she goes to a Subway guy, and the way he just talks to her, me and Art were sitting next to each other, we died laughing. We were like the only people in the theater laughing because, like, it was the most New York Subway guy ever. She just gets it. And God, the scene with the Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always scene is the scene of the year. It is the scene where Sydney is it Flanagan? I think it's Flanagan.
Sydney Flanagan,
The fact that this girl had never really acted before.
Dude, yeah.
And puts out that kind of emotion in that one take. It's the best performance of the year. She deserves the Oscar for sure. If she doesn't get a nomination, it's It's hypocrisy at the Oscars. It's just the performance of a lifetime, and she's that young, and it's her first major performance.
Yeah.
I really, it's hard to talk about the movie without going into every single detail, but I could kind of try, I guess. Like, just the whole, there's never, so kind of like the anti-Sound of Metal. How I was saying with Sound of Metal, I know you really like it. I do like it. But how we were saying, Sound of Metal to me, every single time something happened, I was like, well, I thought 5 minutes ago this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was the opposite of that, where there's...
Have you rewatched it since you saw it originally? Okay.
But unlike Minari, which I really like Minari, but I kind of forgot a lot about Minari, there's a lot of scenes ingrained in my head from Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Where I remember the entire thing. There's certain parts where you're expecting, like, this isn't a spoiler because it doesn't happen. You expect her to confront the dude that got her pregnant, not even remotely touched on.
I know,
It's an afterthought. It's like, who cares? We're not going into that. We're going into this movie. We're getting from, like, pretty much Philly to New York and going through this entire journey of being broke, of trying to figure this shit out.
Of not knowing anything or anyone.
Exactly. Like, it's just, oh my God, what, like, this is the movie. I think I have it at like a 4 for now. The more I think about it, I'm like, nah, it's probably like a 4.5. It's pretty much on par with Beach Rats, and that's a 4.5, so I'd like to change it after talking about it, because, like...
That's how I feel.
God, it is not the happiest watch. It is a tough-ass watch. It's not going to be for everybody, but damn, by the time that thing's over, you feel like you were holding your breath that entire time, and by the end, you're like, whew, like that... Dude. Oh shit! Okay, I felt like I was a pregnant girl right there. Like, damn, like you really feel like you're that. You really feel like shit. I just had
really
to
upset your
choice.
parents in that one,
and it's definitely, God, it is a hard watch. And Eliza Hittman, she did the research. She was going on these buses, talking to people. She was going through the exact, pretty much journey as this character, and it shows, man. She is such a talent. I said she was a talent since I saw Beach Rats. I'm so happy this was her follow-up.
Yeah.
She is like almost the director. I can't wait to see what she does next. Like, I almost don't want her to get a little bit more money. I do have to watch High Maintenance. I almost don't want her to get a little bit more money, but I know she deserves a bit more money, and I want to see what she would do with a slightly bigger budget. I don't know what she would do.
I agree. And and for sure out of like the upcoming, which is also, again, I'm just going to keep plugging Sundance because Sundance has been nothing but great to us.
And we're going virtually this year.
Exactly.
You can still get tickets if you watch this in time.
Sundance like launches so many careers, and for sure Eliza Hittman is a director I'm definitely going to be watching out for. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's incredible. Yeah.
And like I said, Richard Linklater is probably overall my favorite director, even though he's made some duds. He's always spoke to me as a filmmaker of like small indie, knows how to tell a story with such a small budget. Eliza Hittman is the next Linklater to me. She's a darker version, for sure.
She is, but she's depressed Richard Linklater,
is she good with such a low budget. And she's kind of like how you were talking about with Minari, the fact that you don't need a lot of money to tell this story.
You really don't,
But damn, does she do a good job with it. So, to me, it's the best movie I saw this year. In a normal year, it's probably like the really strong like number 3 movie. But you know what? It's so good that I'm fine with giving it the number 1 spot. It was almost Soul. I had it at Soul literally as you were talking about Minari. I kept switching back and forth. I was like, should I bring that back and maybe make Soul number 1 because I think they're both great. Tenet deserves the 3 spot. I think Tenet technically is great, but it's not going to be my favorite down the line. So. Yeah.
I think just based on how you've talked about Soul and now this, I think this is more your number 1 than Soul.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if I publish this, I'd be like, nah, Never Rarely is probably the number 1. So I'm sticking with that for now. Like I said, for a year where it seemed like a lot of people were like, did movies come out? Yeah, there were some great movies that came out.
Good movies.
I think the difference this year is my number 1 isn't like, I wouldn't put Never Rarely as like an all-time favorite. Like there wasn't like a 5-star masterpiece movie for me.
5-star for me.
But there were a lot of consistently great movies this year. Like I don't think I mentioned a bad movie. Maybe I'm thinking of any things on your list I kind of thought wasn't the best, but
and that's fine, and that's fair, you know, because I'm the same way. I mean, like this is the first year, also surprisingly, where like I didn't cut my list off at 40. Usually, I cut it at 40.
And you're like, this is it?
Because I don't want to have like a long list. Because usually I see like maybe 90 to 100 films a year. Yeah, like that year
around
that came out. Yeah. This year I had 60 something, but like also I just went in knowing that I wasn't going to cut it this year. Yeah. But Tenet's 46. It's
down there.
But like, you know, I still managed to get 69 films.
That's still a good amount.
Yeah. So there were films this year. A lot of good films. Definitely. Never Rarely. I love that movie. I want to rewatch it, but I'm scared to.
But you don't want to,
But I'm scared to because of the desolate feeling that I know I'm going to get
it's after not a happy
watching
watch,
it. Absolutely, not at all. But it's a recommended one.
Yeah.
I was also going to say really quick, I also love her cousin in it.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
She's amazing. And like one of the scenes that always sticks with me is
the hand-holding scene?
The hand-holding.
Oh, you already know.
Absolutely. That scene, whenever I think about that movie, I think of that movie, or that scene, I think of the scene, you know, with the title, and I think of the scene, like, almost at the beginning, where we're, like, introduced to her character, like, her job and stuff like that.
Oh,
and,
the job part, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about the opening with, like, the talent show. And
No. But, like, the job and everything.
Yeah, it's great. It's
definitely an amazing movie.
Great movie.
Definitely amazing.
Cannot wait. I have to watch High Maintenance now. I didn't know she directed episodes. So
I didn't either until I saw her name come up and I screamed.
Hell yeah.
Basically, I was like, Eliza Hittman, that's great. She's amazing. Strong year. Watch both of these movies and everything else on our list. Except I'm thinking of ending things. Unless you're really into that.
Unless you really, you know what? If you listen to this point, you're probably interested in movies. Give it a shot. You'll have
give it a shot, and even if you don't like it, at least you'll have something to talk about.
Exactly,
and at least you'll have, you know, you can say that you've seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a check off the weird movies box.
Yeah.
So this is by far the longest podcast I've done, but I had such a great time that I'm cool with it.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we'll cut a little bit out of it. There was some lights and technicalities, but this is my boy Andres. Probably see him again at some point.
Glad to be here.
What do you want to plug? Do you want to plug a social media? What do you want to do?
So right now, I'm not really working on anything major, pandemic and everything. Yeah. You know, I'm working on some personal projects. But really, I mean, follow my Instagram. It's @Pandres.
They'll be linked down below for sure.
Absolutely. That's probably like my main social media account that I like publicizing. We'll see what this year has in store. I'm excited to see what this year has in store. Not only in terms of movies, but also like personal achievements for both of us. Most importantly, watch Nomad Land.
Of course. I'm looking forward to that.
And yeah. I'd love to be back.
Yeah, you'll be
anytime.
Back for sure. Yeah, we'll bring you back. Maybe I'll make you the reoccurring best of the year guy. You never know.
The recurring best of the year guy I will take, or recurring Sundance Festival coverage guy.
Yeah.
You
never know.
All right.
But, if you're watching our faces on YouTube, thanks for watching on YouTube. But if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, there's iTunes, there's Spotify, there's all the places you can listen to a podcast. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify or the podcast place, we're on YouTube. You can look at our faces. So that's there. Thank you so much for listening, as always, if you're here in the beginning phases of this podcast. But Andreas, my outro, I don't have an outro. I asked the guest what you think my outro would be for my podcast. So what do you think the outro would be for Hanging With Azarian?
I think, how often do you release these?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Usually.
So I think every week you should perform an a cappella cover of...
You want my ass to do that?
Yes. You should record an a cappella cover of like a classic 70s or 80s rock song.
What would be the first 70s or 80s rock song that you would pick?
Right now, the one that's in my head is Living on a Prayer.
Okay.
So... maybe just like...
We're not going to do that, but...
All right, that's fine. But just... Yeah. I mean, you wanted a suggestion. I gave you what was in my head at this moment, and that's what I had.